Hello there, World of Tankers, I'm Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 most underrated vehicles in World of Tanks Blitz. Now, these are going to be premium and collector tanks, and of course, if you guys have your own opinions, let me know in the comments down below, but especially if you want to see another video like this talking about tech tree vehicles, make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. Let me know you want to see more like this in the comments, especially because these videos take a little bit longer to make than my average video. I have to get all these replays done, I have to get the commentary done, edit it all out, so of course, make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. Show your support to the channel, but enough about that. Getting straight into the number 5 position, we have the VK90.01P. This vehicle is one of the least played tier 10 collectors in the game. It is all the way behind the T22 Medium, the Chieftain Mark 6, the AMX 30B. It is right ahead of the T95 E6. And, well, why is it such a non-played tank? Well, I really don't know. That is the issue, because it's not going to be a super expensive tank. I can tell you that 100% the next time it hits the stores. And it's not like it's a bad vehicle at all. In fact, before it did come out, Wargaming gave it a massive buff on the upper plate, the damage per minute. It's really a solid vehicle. This, in my opinion, is actually the best side scraper tier for tier in the game. There are no weak spots on the turret, neither are there weak spots on the side armor. So it's just great to side scrape, nobody can penetrate you, and it's got a great gun, 290 millimeters of standard penetration, and you're able to deal 460 average damage. It's got nice aiming time, dispersion values. Overall, the VK90 is actually a blast to run, and it has a massive amount of hit points at almost 2,800. Now, I really, as I said, I don't know why a lot of people don't end up picking up this vehicle. I guess the main reason is why get a VK90 when you can get yourself a T22 Medium, or you can get yourself another overpowered premium, but I really don't know why a lot of people don't go for this tank, because it really is fun, and I can guarantee it will not be in crates the next time it does hit the stores. Getting into the number 4 position, we have the T34. This is one of the rarest tanks to find in the tier 8 matchmaker. Even if I were to play in the tank, not a lot of people even know what it is because it is such a rare vehicle. It's pretty much like you got yourself a Type 59 and then you slapped the T34-2 gun on it, just give it a little bit better aiming time and a little bit better damage per minute. Now the 34-3 is really a super fun vehicle, and it's not bad. A lot of people say it's a bad tank, but it really isn't. First of all, it looks amazing. Nobody can ever argue with me on this, but I, in my personal opinion, think that the T34-3 may be the nicest looking vehicle tier for tier in the game, especially in the tier 8 class. Not to mention, is a really nice looking tank. It's really exciting to play. It has a 2.5 second aiming time for 400 damage. So you're driving around this massive watermelon of an aiming circle, and as soon as you stop, you massively just go swoop right down into no aiming circle at all. And it's kind of fun just to whiff your shots right at the enemy, dealing 400 damage, and it really is a fun tank. As I said, not necessarily the best, but it still is able to penetrate its opponents. Its heat pen, if you're running calibrated, has 275 millimeters, so it's a pretty deadly tank if you just let it shoot at you, and as well, it's very, very fun to play. Getting into the number 3 position, we have the Chieftain T95. Now, this used to be a super popular tank, an extremely rare one at that as well. When it first came into the game, it was actually part of the Blitz fair when the M60 came out as well. This was, I think, the second Blitz fair that ever came into the game, and it was on a lucky wheel. Now, I cannot tell you how much money I probably dropped trying to win the Chieftain T95, but I think about a year and a half later, Wargaming brought the tank back out as a special event for everybody to get for free. And at the time, it was a super popular tank. Not only did it have a decent amount of pen at around 200 millimeters, it had great damage per minute at 2,300, it had a great armor profile, everything was quite well for the tank at the time, but of course power creep kind of set in, and the tank kind of got worse as time set in. But Wargaming has shown some love to the vehicle in the future. Not only have they buffed the cupola on the vehicle to about 160 millimeters thick, which means that high explosive cannot pen it, as well the Chieftain T95 has a little bit better DPM and way better penetration, 212 millimeters on the standard pen. You have great DPM as well. So it's a really strong tank that you don't really find in the matchmaker anymore, and with the heavy tank hit point buff, it's now at 1900 HP. So you can run this against medium vehicles and just sit there and take shots from them and hit the back, and they really can't do anything because you're pretty much just as mobile as a medium tank going 42 kilometers per hour. There's really not that many bad things about the Chieftain other than that cupola. I really wish Wargaming would remove it, but hey, you can't win them all, I guess. So that's why this tank is sitting the number 3 position. Getting into the number 2 position, we have the Glacial Glacial 112. Now this is a super old tank just like the Chieftain T95, and when you think about it, this vehicle as well came out the first time in an event for you guys to earn for free. Now sadly, that event was so long ago, not really many people even know about it, but you could have actually earned the Glacial and the WZ Blaze in a singular event for free, and sadly, Wargaming doesn't really do events like that anymore. They used to have a lot of events where you could earn even tier A premiums for free, like the T44-100. As I said, the Chieftain T95, you could have earned, let's see what else there was, the Predator and the Vindicator. There was so many tier A vehicles. The M6 Experimental, you could have earned. There's just so many tier A vehicles, and sadly, Wargaming doesn't do events like that as much anymore, and if they do, they kind of bring back the older vehicles. But Wargaming, if you're listening to this video, it'd be really nice if you did bring maybe some newer vehicles, let's say, I don't know, like the 50 TP. Imagine if Wargaming actually brought the 50 TP for everybody to have a chance to earn for free. Now, of course, you'd have to be skilled to get it, but it would still be pretty nice for Wargaming to actually add a brand new premium. That way people would actually play the game to earn something. But enough about that, talking about the Glacial 112. What is good about this tank? Well, ever since it came into the game, it has been getting non-stop buffs because, of course, power creep exists in the game and quite a bit of it, and it really shows on this vehicle and what Wargaming has done to it. So when it first came into the game, it actually had the same stock gun as the IS-6, that 175 pen gun. And it turns out when the IS-5 came out, Wargaming decided, you know what, we're going to add the other gun as well as an option to the IS-6, so where you can have 175 pen or 220. And about a year later, Wargaming changed the gun on the Glacial to the same type of gun, the D25 you'd find on your IS-5, your IS-6, your Glacial 112, and your 112-2. Pretty much all those vehicles now carry the exact same gun. But it was kind of cool to have 175 pen at the time. But yeah, definitely now you want the more penetration gun. So the Glacial got a buff in the gun. Then it also got a buff in the armor. So the lower plate on this tank was about 120 effective, and when angled, I'd say maybe about 180 when it is all effective armor there. And yeah, that's really not that spectacular. That meant that pretty much while your upper plate was about 300 millimeters, anybody that got your lower plate could easily penetrate it. But Wargaming decided, you know what, enough of that, we're going to buff the lower plate to about 180, which means that now the lower plate, literally flat on, is 200 millimeters. And if you're angling it correctly, you can get it up to about 220. So the tank actually does a great job at brawling with other tier 8 heavies. It's got a good gun, great penetration, and I actually love the vehicle as a tier 8 heavy, and it's one of my favorites. So let me know what you guys think, again, in the comments down below of my number 2 decision. Jumping into the number 1 position, we have the T95E6. Now, you guys are probably like, why are you bringing this random tier 10 heavy tank into the list? Now, a lot of people always say that the Chieftain is pretty much just a way better version of the E6, and while I will agree that the Chieftain may be a little bit better in certain scenarios where, of course, the Chieftain's got Hesh and it's got DPM, I also do actually enjoy playing the E6 more than the Chieftain, and that's because it's a little different cup of tea. The Chieftain has different attributes going for it. First of all, it actually has one of the best power to weight ratios, even better than some of the mediums at tier 10 in the heavy tank class. The T95E6 is able to stay at its top speed of 42 kilometers per hour pretty much no matter what, going uphill, downhill, straight line, sandy terrain, dunes, everything like that. It's very, very quick, which makes it really good at taking out medium tanks. Not only that, it carries the same type of gun as your T125, a little bit more DPM, but because of that, this vehicle is super, super flexible. It has 374 millimeters of heat pen, and that means, well, yeah, armor really isn't an issue when penetrating vehicles. Something that the Chieftain definitely struggles with is the premium pen, only about 320 millimeters. You really don't have to struggle with that on the T95E6. And the last one, not but least, is that it has 10 degrees of gun depression. And when you compare that to the T125, well, it's definitely a major step up. 10 degrees of gun depression makes it very solid. And you may think, well, the turret armor, it's kind of weak. It's got that big cupola on top, but it really isn't a weak cupola. The edges of it are about 280 millimeters thick, and the weakest spot is 220. You really have to get an accurate shot into it, and I actually like the cupola being there. A lot of people say, well, remove it. Well, of course, if they removed it, it would be way better for me, but at the same time, a lot of people always try and shoot at it, and if you wiggle your turret back and forth, it's very, very hard to hit it. So it is a pretty fun tank, in my own opinion, and this is a super cheap tier 10 vehicle. It always comes to the stores for like, I don't know, 45, 30 US dollars, pretty cheap for a tier 10 tank, and I find it sad that not a lot of people really do end up playing the vehicle as it is. So these are my top 5 picks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, but I think all of these vehicles definitely deserve some more recognition in the tier 10, tier 9, and even tier 8 matchmaker, should I say. But as always, I hope you guys did enjoy this type of content. Please make sure to smash that subscribe button down below if you did, but other than that, I hope you're all doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.